I'm going to play the Hanukkah story while we're waiting. The story of Hanukkah happened a long time ago, around 165 years before the year zero. At that time, the Jews mostly lived in Israel, and their holy temple was in the city of Jerusalem. The temple was the most special place for the Jewish people. The temple had a holy ark, a cabinet that holds the Torah, and above the ark hung the eternal light, a special oil lamp that had to stay lit at all times, day and night. Whenever it was about to go out, someone in charge of the oil would pour new oil into it to keep it burning.
A mean king named Antiochus came to rule over the land of Israel. "I don't like the Jewish people," declared Antiochus. "They are so different from me. They pray to only one God, and I pray to many gods. They don't celebrate my holidays. They think their Torah is the holiest book, and I don't think so." Antiochus ordered all of the Jewish people to stop being Jewish. Anyone caught doing Jewish things would be killed.
Antiochus sent his soldiers to make the holy temple in Jerusalem into a temple for his God. They broke the ark and smashed the jars of oil. They put statues of their gods in the temple and brought in other unholy and dirty things, like pigs and birds.
One Jew named Mattathias had 5 sons. Mattathias, and especially his son Judah, could not stand the thought of their holy temple being so dirtied and wrecked. They told all the Jews, "We must rise up and fight for our holy temple."
At first, the followers of Mattathias and Judah, who were called the Maccabees, were afraid. "Judah," they said, "Antiochus has many soldiers, and they have big weapons and wear armor. They use elephants to fight their battles. We don't have weapons or armor or elephants. How could we possibly fight against Antiochus and his army?" Judah replied, "If we think hard and plan carefully, God will help us win our temple back." And that is what they did.
The Maccabees realized that even though Antiochus and his army had weapons and armor and elephants, the Maccabees knew the land. They could get around in the hills at night because this was their home, and they grew up on those hills. They used their brains and their creativity to take the mean army by surprise, and with God's help, the Maccabees chased Antiochus and his army out of Israel.
The first thing the Maccabees did was to go to their holy temple in Jerusalem. They repaired the ark and the stones that were broken. When they tried to light the eternal light, they discovered that Antiochus and his soldiers had broken all the jars of oil. This wasn't just any oil. This was a special holy oil. They searched and searched until at last they found one tiny jar of pure oil, but the jar only had enough oil in it to burn for one day. It would take 8 days to travel to get more oil.
And that's when a miracle happened. The little bit of oil that should have burned out after just one day lasted for 8 whole days.
The Jews were overjoyed. First, their small army chased away the strong, powerful army of Antiochus, and now that tiny bit of oil lasted for 8 days. Was it luck? Or was it God helping the Jews who had decided to stand up for themselves?
The Jewish people celebrated and thanked God for all these things. Ever since that time long ago, Jews light the Chanukiah, a candle holder with 8 candles, plus 1 to do the lighting, to remember the special miracles that happened so long ago.
Hanukkah, oh Hanukkah, come light the menorah. Let's have a party, we'll all dance the hora. Gather around the table.
And we're back. Hag Sameach, everyone. Happy Hanukkah, Rabbi Brown.
Hag Sameach to you, Rabbi Dan. Great to see you, and great to be joined by a wonderful Paloma and Xander tonight.
Paloma and Xander, how's your Hanukkah so far?
It's been pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah? You guys are dressed up so nice and fancy. I know you dress like that all the time in your house.
Of course.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So before you do some Hanukkah songs with us, tell us a bit about the two of you. You're here tonight not just because you're talented musicians, but you're also representing.
You can see. We're also representing Marvi. I'm the Marvi co-president, and
I am the Marvi VP of communication,
membership and
communication.
fundraising.
Yeah.
And Marvi is again what?
Yeah, Marvi is our youth group. It's our teen youth group. We are actually having an event, I believe, the 17th. It'll be over Zoom. We'll be baking some cookies and playing some Hanukkah games. It'll be a good time.
Yeah.
So join us.
That's terrific. And you're also very talented musicians. What do you got going for us tonight?
Yeah, we got 2 songs for you guys.
All right.
We can start with that.
That was terrific.
We have a second song for you guys.
Great. That's good because we've got that was
great.
awesome.
Fantastic. I've never heard Hanukkah songs with a bass before. I love it.
Xander, how do you walk around with that bass? It's not so easy to like bring that to school.
Luckily they have it at school, so I don't have to haul it all the way back and forth, which is really nice.
You can't just kind of pull that out around the campfire and start.
That's why we have the guitar player.
Well, I know we're looking forward to some more music that's coming. What's coming up, I think, this Sunday night that I know you guys are excited about also?
We have the Dan Nichols concert, right?
It's the Dan Nichols concert, right. Yeah, 7:30 Sunday night. Tell us about Dan Nichols a little bit, because I know he's been an inspiration for you guys.
Oh yeah, so he would always come to Camp Kalsman, and he's been a really big inspiration to me. I've learned so many of his songs, and I really like his melodies to all of the songs that he makes, and I just think they're really cool. I think he's a really cool dude.
Yeah, so we're going to have a concert with him, and not just with Dan Nichols, but with 2 other synagogues and Camp Kalsman. So this is a Pacific Northwest-wide Hanukkah evening. That's at 7:30, but at 7 o'clock, Rabbi Brown, what are we doing at 7 o'clock?
7 o'clock, we are having a pre-show, like the red carpet before the big show. We are having a interactive trivia game that's going to be a lot of fun. Everyone is invited. You need to sign up through our website, and there are prizes for the top 3 finishers of our Hanukkah trivia. So you won't want to miss out. They're great prizes, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So come join us then.
Wow, prizes and everything. That's fantastic. Now, Paloma and Xander, behind you, what do you got there?
We have the synagogue's Hanukkah back here. You can see it.
If you go that far away, you're going to have to speak louder.
We have the synagogue's Hanukkah back here.
You do. Now, when you don't normally have the synagogue's Hanukkah, oh, there's your mom. Grip, sound engineer. Is this where you normally do Hanukkah at home?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. What's Hanukkah in the Delisle household like?
I mean, this year we're doing something a little different. Every day we're doing a different theme. So tonight we're all dressed up pretty fancy because we're doing casino night. We all played poker together.
I love it.
I kind of want to be adopted into your family.
Totally. What was last night's theme?
I don't think we had a theme last night.
Marby meeting.
Marby
Marby
meeting
meeting was last
meeting
night.
theme.
Marvy meeting theme. That's good. Okay, well, why don't we do the Hanukkah candles and the blessings, and then we'll
Awesome.
move on to the Shabbat candles.
Take it off. You do it. I don't like
There you go. Not lighting.
Oh no.
Give it a second. There we go.
There we go.
No.
You think we can get your parents to join us on screen too, or are they?
You guys want to go? I did like squish that one in. Okay.
There we go.
Yay! Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Hanukkah.
Amen.
Let's say another blessing too. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu.
Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu v'kiyamanu v'higiyanu lezman hazeh.
Amen. Ashehechianu for that too. And Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asa nisim lavoteinu bayamim hahem ba'azman hazeh.
Amen.
Amen. Now we can do the Shabbat candles now that Hanukkah has begun. The same thing happened with our ancestors in the days of the oil and Hanukkah.
Oh.
They couldn't get the lighter to work for 8 days. You know, I would say that you do have another candle there, the Shamas candle that could probably that works too.
You're just lighting another
We're gonna
one.
like.
What's wrong with these candles?
That doesn't work on it. Bombing. That's okay. I can. You sure? It's a trick candle. It's okay.
my
You can blow
God.
that out. I'll use the candle.
It's the candle. What's wrong with the candle?
IKEA candles.
Oh, classic IKEA.
There we go.
So,
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kichanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for helping us get our Shabbos and our Hanukkah started. It's so great to be in your dining room and to celebrate with you. And your music was just terrific.
yeah.
So we love being able to share this moment with you all. I see Cantor Tausig is here as well. Maybe we can get her to turn her camera on. You guys are welcome to turn yours off if you want. And we wish you a Shabbat Shalom and a happy Hanukkah.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Thanks, guys. It was beautiful.
Shabbat Shalom, Cantor Tausig. How are you?
Shabbat Shalom. Well, that was really uplifting, and we had a beautiful Shabbat and Hanukkah evening tonight, so I'm in a great space. Thank you.
Fantastic.
How are you both?
Good.
Good.
A little oily on the skin, but
Oh, yeah, there's a smell in the house tonight.
My entire kitchen glows.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I've got to get my tallit on, and we've got a couple minutes before we begin. So if you guys want to kibitz a little bit, and then we'll start in a couple
can.
minutes.
Well, I felt quite privileged tonight. I have a fairly large bubble of people living in this house where we are 6 people. So,
oh my goodness.
yeah, there's me and Keith and Alexandra and Ornus, the woman from Afghanistan who's part of our family now. And then we have tenants that have been with us for years in our basement. And so usually on Friday night, we all get together. So I feel every time we come together and we sing Shalom Aleichem, which is every week, I feel hugely privileged that in a COVID world, I still get to gather with 6 people and hear voices. It's always a treat for me.
That is amazing.
Yeah, it's really special. Yeah.
I'm back.
You're back.
Yeah, it's Hanukkah doesn't need a whole lot of adaptations for COVID.
No, it actually feels like the most normal thing we've done in a long time.
Yeah. If anything, it's a little better because without all the sports and other things that sometimes would conflict at this time of year, everybody's home. So not running around trying to see when are we going to do candles and stuff.
And I find my family certainly it was hard to get together for Passover and the big things because it's just complicated, but people are very willing to just get together for 5 minutes of candle lighting, and that's been nice.
Yeah. Well, tomorrow night we have the Canada-wide Hanukkah extravaganza, the Saturday Night Live. That'll be fun. Yeah. And we have the movie night tomorrow night too. So, have you seen the film?
No, I keep meaning to get the link to watch it.
We're watching tonight. That's our Shabbat thing.
Okay, we watched it last Shabbos. Yeah, it's really powerful. Really powerful.
I'm looking forward.
For those that are watching and listening, this is the film Passengers, and it's about the last group of about 9,000 Ethiopian Jews. As you'll read you'll see the Falash Mora, who were trying to immigrate to Israel. Israel initially approved their immigration, but they have not brought them in yet. They've brought in now a few of them, and they are in sort of this in-between place of not being Jewish enough to come to Israel in the eyes of some within the government, and not being, they're not Christian, so they don't fit within Ethiopian society so easily as well. So it's a really fascinating film, and we'll have the filmmaker for that film with us tomorrow night to discuss it. So looking forward to that. Okay, well, I guess it's 8:15, so let's begin.
Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov shevet achim gam yachad. Because we'll continue. I'm going to just go with Ma Yafeh Hayom. How beautiful is this day? Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom. Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Once again, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We're glad that you could join us tonight for Shabbat Hanukkah. In years past, we've been in our synagogue. There's been the smell of latkes filling the air, either from our men's club or from Sarachiachi or from any of the various sources of latkes in our community. And so we don't have that, and we don't have the opportunity to be together in person. But as you hopefully joined us at 8 o'clock, we lit the Temple Sholom Hanukkah before Shabbos with Paloma and Xander Delisle, the leaders of our Marvi youth group, and we've been bringing that Hanukkah to a different home every night. So we can still stay connected even in this somewhat disconnected time that we are in. Maybe we're more connected than ever before. I'm not sure. But Shabbos comes, and with it, hopefully, a sense of hopefulness with the news of vaccines being approved and distribution hopefully to start soon, and a sense of Shabbos peace that we're supposed to bubble on Shabbat. We're supposed to disconnect from the rest of the world. So maybe Shabbos is the most COVID friendly time that there is, because what we're supposed to do is be home with family and with loved ones. And if we are blessed to be able to be with family and loved ones in the midst of this, then it really is truly a blessing. And if not, well, we have this technology and the ability to connect with those that we love. So let's continue. Page 131. Oops. Page 100. That was my keyboard. Page 131. Shiru Adonai Shir Chadash. We sing unto God a new song.
Shiru Adonai, Shir Chadash, Shiru Adonai, Kol Haaretz, Shiru Adonai, Baruch Shemo, Bastru Miyom Liyom Yeshuato, Sapru Vagoyim Kevodo, Bechol Hamim Niflehotav, Ki Gadol Adonai, Humhulal Meyod, Norahu, Al Kol Elohim, Yadai, 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 Yadai,
We'll turn ahead in our prayer books to page 142. Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMelachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Bachem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMelachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMelachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Tzedchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMelachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu.
We'll turn back in our prayer books to page 138 for Lecha Dodi as we welcome the Sabbath bride.
And I don't hear you.
And I can't do Tasik. Are you there? You're frozen.
Hello?
Can't do Tasik. You there? Oh, this has never happened before.
No, we lost the cantor.
You lost the cancer. Rabbi Brown, if I sing it, we'll lose the rest of the congregation.
I'll start Lecha Dodi till Naomi can save me.
That's a good thing.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekavela Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad hishmianu el hamiyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shem u'tiferet v'litchila lecha dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nekavela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki mekor haveracha merosh mikedem nesucha sof maaseh b'machshava techila.
Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Mikdash melech ir melucha gumitzi mitoch hafecha rav lach shevet be'amek habecha v'hu yachamo alaychem la lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, hivaorech kumiori, uri, shir daberi, kavod Adonai, alayach nigla, lecha dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom teret bala gam b'simcha u'tzahala toch emunei am segula boi chala lecha dodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nekabela.
We greeted the Sabbath bride and we re-greeted our cantor.
Thank you.
Just that it shouldn't be lost on anyone. We're doing this from our homes. I mean, what you see behind you is not behind us. So it's amazing that we haven't had more technical glitches along the way.
Sure.
Our service continues as we turn ahead in our prayer books to page 263. If you've stood, please remain standing. Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabba v'almad divrachute v'yamlich malchute v'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayedachol beit Yisrael bagala uv'izman kariv v'himeru amen. Yesh me rabba mevarach le'alam olam me'amaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalel shemei dekudesha barichu ve'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata Damiram ve'alma ve'imeru. Amen. Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach.
Baruch Adonai Vorach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam vaed.
You may be seated, and we'll continue with Ma'ariv Aravim on page 265. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro Ma'ariv Aravim. B'chochma poteach she'arim, u'bitvuna meshana itim, u'machalif et hazmanim, u'mesader et hakochavim b'mishmerateham barakia kirtzono. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Umavir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uven laila, Adonai tzavaot shemo. El chai v'kayam tamid imloch aleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, Ma'ariv Aravim.
Amen. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael amcha ahavta Torah ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו, בשוכבנו ובקומנו, נשיח בחוקך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ובמצוותיך, לעולם לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם בלילה. באהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו ישראל. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אמת.
When we come to Micha Mocha in our service, we always think about miracles. We think about the miracle of the splitting of the sea and of the plagues that allowed our ancestors to go free. But we also think about the miracle of Hanukkah and the miracle of the light. And it's a funny thing about miracles. I've been thinking a little bit today about Nisim, these miracles we remember on Hanukkah, and the Nisim of our lives today. And I think many of us feel that that this incredible vaccine is in some ways its own nace. It's this miracle of our time. Not only that it was able to be discovered and it seems to be so efficacious in the trials, but also the speed at which it came together, but the collaboration with which these things have come together. I think that there's a bit of a miracle, not just in the individual aspects of the vaccine itself, but the way that humanity can, when we have our minds set to it, work together and create something that is beyond anything we've done before. That by itself is a miracle. And you know, that there are miracles that come from the divine, and there are miracles that come from within that we don't even realize that we have the potential to bring into the world, but we do. And we see this week so much of how we can be thankful for that potential that allowed a vaccine like we've seen being placed into arms in the UK this week, and God willing into Canadians this coming week too. So let us celebrate those miracles as we sing together Micha Mocha, page 270.
Micha Mocha beinim Adonai, Micha Mocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot o seifele, Nora tehilot o seifele, Machotecha rahu vanecha, Bokeyam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, Zeini anu ve'amru, Adonai yimloch, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. V'ne'emar kifed Adonai et Yaakov, Ogalo mi'at chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael.
Hashkivenu, page 271.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, ve'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, ve'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen.
Amen. Continue now with Vishamru on page 272.
V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, ביני ובין בני ישראל, ביני ובין בני ישראל, ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. Yum bada bim bum bye, Shabbat, Shabbat, yum bada bim bum bye, Shabbat, Shabbat, yum bada bim bum bye, Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz, uvayom hashvi Shabbat, Vayinafash, yambarabim bambai, Shabbat, Shabbat, yambarabim bambai, Shabbat, Shabbat, yambarabim bambai, Shabbat, 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 Shalom.
I'll invite those who will to rise now as we prepare for the Amidah on page 274.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel chasadim tovim v'konei hakol, v'zocher chasdei avod v'imahot, u'mevi geula livnei v'neihem, leman shemo be'ahava. Melech ozer Moshiach magen, Baruch atah Adonai, magen Avraham be'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayim etim atah rav lahoshia, Mashiv haruach morid hagashem, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayim etim berachamim rabim, Somech noflim berofei cholim, Umatir asurim, umekayem emunato, lishene afar, michamocha b'gevurot, umidom melach, melech memid umechayeh, umatzmiach Yeshua, b'ne'emanat halachayot metim, Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hametim. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, ukdoshim b'chol yom yalucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
Amen. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
Amen.
You may be seated as we continue at the bottom of 277.
Eloheinu v'Avoteinu v'Imotenu, Ritzei v'Menuchateinu, Kacheinu b'mitzvotecha, V'tein chelkeinu b'toratecha, Tzabeinu mituvecha, V'samcheinu b'shuatecha, V'taher libenu, V'taher libenu, V'taher libenu l'ovdecha bemet, V'taher libenu, V'taher libenu, V'taher libenu l'ovdecha bemet. Vanchileinu Adonai Eloheinu, be'ava v'ratzon Shabbat kodshecha, ve'anuchu v'Yisrael, mekadshei shmecha. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh HaShabbat.
I want to share a reading tonight that's from the words of Rabbi Jonathan Sachs of blessed memory, who died recently, who had so many beautiful and inspiring ideas. But this one I wanted to share is about the flame of faith as represented by the light of Hanukkah. He wrote this: "When I use the flame of my faith to light a candle in someone else's life, my Jewishness is not diminished. It grows because there is now more Jewish light in the world. When it comes to spiritual goods as opposed to material goods, the more I share, the more I have. If I share my knowledge or faith or love with others, I won't have less. I may even have more. So share your Judaism with others. Take the flame of your faith and help set other souls on fire."
Beautiful.
Like that beautiful reading.
Mhm.
We're going to continue now with our prayer of gratitude of Hoda'ah. And on Hanukkah, we have a special insert that we do here to give thanks not only for the miracles of each day, but of course for the beautiful blessings of Hanukkah. So we are going to start at the bottom of 280, V'al nisecha shebachol yom imanu. That's 4 lines from that bottom. And then after that beautiful melody, we'll turn to page 556 for Al Hanisim.
Ve'al nisecha shebachol yom imanu, ve'al niflotecha v'tavotecha, me'olam kivinu lach, me'olam kivinu lach, ve'al nisecha shebachol eit, Erev v'boker v'tzarayim, me'olam kivinu lach, me'olam kivinu lach. Hatov kilucha l'rachamecha, ve'hamrachem kilu tamu chasadecha. Me'olam kivinu
These words on 556 Al Hanisim, these are the same that Paloma and Xander sang at the beginning of our gathering tonight, these traditional words of gratitude for the miracles of Hanukkah.
על הניסים ועל הפורקן ועל הגבורות ועל התשועות ועל המלחמות שעשינו לאבותינו ואמותינו בימים ההם בזמן הזה. על הניסים ועל הפורקן ועל הגבורות ועל התשועות ועל המלחמות שעשינו לאבותינו ואמותינו בימים ההם בזמן הזה. Gotta squeeze in those mothers.
Get those Imotenu in there. That's great. In the days of the Hasmoneans, Mattathias ben Yochanan, the high priest, and his children, when the evil government of Greece rose up against your people Israel to make them forget your Torah and to make them leave the laws of your will, in your great mercy you rose up with them in their time of trouble and fought in their fight, judged their cause just. You delivered the mighty into the hands of the weak, the many into the hands of the few, the unclean into the hands of the pure, the evil into the hands of the righteous, and the arrogant into the hands of those who engage in your Torah. For you made a great and holy name in your world, and for your people Israel you brought about the great triumph and redemption on that very day. And when your children came to the Holy of Holies and emptied your temple, and purified your holy place and lit candles in your holy courts, and established these 8 days of Hanukkah, grateful to acknowledge and to praise your great name. For all these things we give thanks. Amen.
Amen.
Turn now to Shalom Rav, and I've lost my page.
282.
282. Thank you, Kendra.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Hamcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Hamcha Tasim Leolam. Ki Ata Malachaton Lecho Haolam. Ki Ata Malachaton Lecho HaShalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Hamcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Hamcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov b'necha levarech et Hamcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובחושך בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Hamcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Hamcha Tasim Leolam. Baruch atah Adonai Mavarech et Amo Yisrael Shalom.
And take a moment now for our own silent prayer.
Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Od Yavo
Od Yavo
Shalom
Shalom
Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Od Yavo
Od Yavo
Shalom
Shalom
Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol yoshvei tevel.
Beautiful. We now will turn to our Misha Berach, our prayer of healing for those in our community we are thinking of, especially the Shabbat, who are ill or in need of strength and healing. And I invite you to turn to page 371. In the middle of the page, you'll find our Misha Berach. But first, I'd like to mention the names of people who we are praying for this week, including Dr. Dmitry Zanazin, Lynn Shabo, Ted Cohn, Shayna Stawicki, Jack Karp, Ralph Schulman, Zvi Katz, Elizabeth Katz, Maylor Valance, Elliot Pohl, Sanford Cohen, Schneur Zalman Ben Meir Leib, Jean Angus, Sarah Chiachi, Mary Coheen, Kim Bennett, Sarah Bat Avraham Vasara, Igor Ilyasov, Ed Ozer, David Shlomo Gorney, Ronnie Goldberg, Andrea Jarjbiak, Maureen Newman, Neil Tapley, and Yana Timko. I invite you, if there are other people you are thinking of praying for healing, to share their names out loud or in your heart as we offer this prayer.
Misha Be'erach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Be'erach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. That was so beautiful. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's a pleasure to be able to be with you for this Shabbat Hanukkah. I wanted to share some quick announcements before tonight's message. Hopefully you received these in the email. We did send out a corrected email, so be sure that the one you're looking at has the word corrected in the subject title. Tomorrow night is our Saturday Night Live, a Canadian Reformed Community Hanukkah experience. Join us at 5 o'clock. This is via Zoom, not on our normal streaming services. So please join us online via Zoom, and you'll need to click on the link to do that. We've partnered with all of the Reformed congregations across Canada to put together this special program. Temple Shalom has some special parts in it, so I hope you'll join us for it. And then Sunday, as we talked about at the beginning of the service, at 7 o'clock is our pre-concert Hanukkah trivia night with prizes and everything. That's also on Zoom, so you'll need to register for that. And we're using an app called Kahoot to allow you to interact with the questions on the trivia game. So you'll need to have that downloaded to your phone or something. So some technical hurdles, no doubt. But if those technical hurdles get in your way, by 7:30, we go back to just being able to tune in like you are now for our concert with Dan Nichols, which we share with Temple to Her Sinai and Temple Beth Am in Seattle and URJ Camp Calsman. That's at 7:30. And that's on this channel, on TELUS, on YouTube, on Facebook. So you can just tune in for that. Services continue tomorrow morning. Tomorrow night, our movie night discussion, I was talking about this earlier at the beginning of our service as well. If you haven't watched it yet, please register online. You'll get a link to watch the film. The film is called The Passengers, as I spoke before. It's about the last aliyah of Ethiopian Jews trying to immigrate to Israel and their struggle. And we'll be joined by the filmmaker, Ryan Porish, for our after-film discussion. So you watch the film in advance and then join us online. Tuesday night, we're going to have a Temple Shalom Town Hall, a chance to connect with each other via Zoom, to report on a number of things that are going on at the synagogue, give you an update on numbers and membership and budget, and most importantly, answer questions. So please join us for that. Everything else I think you can read and find online. I don't want to spend too much time talking about all of it, other than to say there's a lot going on. So please check your email and join us online for the various things that are being offered. And there we are. So Shabbat Shalom. Among the many challenges of this pandemic that has been my inability to imagine how it will end. For 8 months, it's been hard, if not impossible, to imagine how we get out of this. When we can take our masks off, when we can hug again, travel again, breathe easy again. But all of that changed a few weeks ago, when the first reports of the successful stage 3 trials of the vaccines were breaking news. For the first time in a long time, I allowed myself to imagine the world as it one day might be. I gave my spirit permission to hope. Each day as the news of COVID cases, hospitalizations, and deaths continues to break alarming records and bring unimaginable suffering and sadness, I've been comforted by the very possible reality that this may one day maybe will end. That we not only see the light at the end of the tunnel, but one day, maybe in the next 6 to 9 months, we might bask in its warmth and its glow. As I contemplate life after all of this, 3 thoughts consume me and weigh on my soul. 1, what am I looking forward to doing again that I have not been able to do in this pandemic? Secondly, what will I continue not to do as a matter of choice that the pandemic imposed upon me as a matter of obligation? And third, what am I going to miss about this period of time, about this pandemic time? I think we have all spent a lot of time contemplating the first and the second questions, but maybe not enough time, or no time at all, on the last one. When you're in the midst of a crisis, it's unthinkable to contemplate what you will miss about that crisis. In fact, it kind of defeats the definition of crisis if you long for it not to end. Don't get me wrong, I very much want this pandemic to end. But there are things about it that I am going to miss, and things I realize now that I am running out of time to accomplish or achieve before life returns to what used to pass for normal. Tonight, as we sit on the cusp of a new year, as we bask in the glow of, if not the light at the end of the tunnel, then at least the Hanukkah lights that remind us too of the miracle of our people's survival against great odds, I want to dwell on this question. What am I going to miss about the great COVID pandemic of 2020? I will tell you this, it's not nothing. Our family entered into our social isolation and physical distancing like I know a lot of you did. We embraced it because we had no choice. We leaned into it because what choice did we have? Even with its hardships and its challenges, we found things that we appreciated about it. Time with those we lived with and loved, we had more of that. A slowing down of life and outside obligations. We couldn't run from place to place, activity to activity, appointment to appointment. No one could. We've all been home. And for me, I've never really been home before. Not this much, not ever. I used to describe my work as a 9-to-5 job with colleagues and a 5-to-9 job working with volunteers. And then on the weekends, I'd try to blend both worlds into something holy and transformative. My work during the pandemic was different, is different. I'd wake up and my commute was 2 flights of stairs and about 15 feet to my home office, which is where I'm leading services from now. A traffic jam was getting past the dog in the hallway. I've worked nonstop, like many of you. I had a terrible work-life boundaries and balance, or lack of balance, to begin with. And COVID has exploited that to what I know is an unsustainable and probably not very healthy level. But when I was done for the day, or at least for the moment, I was already home. If my kids needed it, if they needed me for homework or wanted to play, I wasn't at the office. I was in the next room. And Zoom, when you're not leading a service at least, has both a mute button and an end meeting button. I will probably miss those more than I can imagine right now. When I was growing up in the 1970s and 80s, I would ask my parents and grandparents, what was it like during World War II? They would speak of air raid drills, blackout blinds, rationing butter, sugar, rubber. My dad remembers his last piece of chewing gum. My mom remembers uncles going off to war in uniform, and some not coming back. We will remember this time too. Children and grandchildren not yet born will ask those who are, who lived through it, what did you do during the pandemic of 2020? Their answers will change as we get further from this period. History is always written by survivors and remembered imprecisely. But they will remember, and stories will be passed down. Lessons will be discerned and learned. And I wonder what they'll be. I'm sure that future generations will tell of the trauma of online learning in its infancy, the horror of Zoom and Microsoft Teams last April and May when our children tried to do school online and we tried to be parent, teacher, employee, and tech support all at the same time while still getting dinner ready. I hope that we will honor and remember all those that worked so hard to protect us, those who died from this virus, and those whose lives have been forever changed by the illness and the loss because of this virus. I hope that when we speak of this time, we will retell how during the crisis, there was a huge wave of solidarity that arose in the society, that people were sewing face masks, cheering medical staff, helping elderlies with shopping. They might remember baking bread, meals together 3 times a day, scheduled Zoom calls with families, walks, bike rides, camping. Our family will remember the great 30-day RV trip of 2020. We went, we saw, we survived, at times without Wi-Fi. If we made a t-shirt, that's what it would say. But they and all of us will also remember wearing masks and those that fought against wearing masks. We will remember the scarcity of hand sanitizer and some of us making our own. That we learned what PPE was and why it's important. And we ponder a supply chain that doesn't make it domestically. We will tell stories of wiping down our cereal boxes and not hugging family or friends for almost a year, if not more. We will speak incredulously of Zoom bar mitzvahs and funerals, flattening the curve, experiencing the surge, weddings postponed, testing and isolating, borders closed, hoarding toilet paper, searching for yeast, lineups for grocery stores and Starbucks, no movie theaters, and of all the mishigas that happened in 2020 in the midst of a global pandemic. In the midst of all the remembering, which you can only do when you think you are closer to the end than you are to the beginning, as maybe we are now, will there also be regret, missed opportunities, time not taken, goals attempted or achieved? Some people use the pandemic to get really physically fit. I was not one of them. Others wrote that novel that they had always been planning to but never had time to, or that blog they always wanted to start. Some had time and they took it. Some organized their homes, made scrapbooks, created works of art and music. For some, losing a job or not being able to do their job as they always had, with travel and endless meetings, allowed them to find new callings and occupations and purpose. But for some of us, the books that we intended to read have just piled up on our bedside table. The gym shoes are still in their box that arrived from Amazon. The crafting materials that we ordered online and planned to learn how to use never got past reading the directions. If we are lucky, we have 4 to 6 months left of this pause and isolation. And then the vaccines will be in wide distribution. And even if we haven't gotten our jab yet, God willing, enough will, and life will come inching back. If we are lucky. Or will we think that we're unlucky, unfortunate? Pandemics like this happen every 100 years or so, and it should never happen again in our lifetime. So the question hangs, if this is the only pandemic we get, did you make the most of your pandemic? Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel taught that our lives derive their ultimate value and sense of purpose, not necessarily by what receives most of our time, but by what commands our deepest commitment. To what are you committed to? If all of this is going to, if not end, at least dramatically change, what do you want to make of the pandemic time that you have left? We may never be home as much as we have been, for good or for bad, because we may never be as close to those in our homes and as far from those outside of them as we have been, for good or for bad. Expectations placed upon us by others, by ourselves, have been adjusted for life during COVID. Those will change too, for better or for worse. COVID will one day no longer be the excuse. But if we truly reflect on the experience and the lessons learned, we might be able to make it the reason, in a good way, for what we have committed ourselves to when all of this is behind us. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may it be God's will. Amen.
Yasher Koch. Turn it down. That was really thought-provoking about all that we've been through and thinking about it as, I don't know, a reflection rather than, just this current moment is an interesting idea. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yasher Koach. Thank you.
So we'll turn now back to our Sidurim to prepare for Aleinu on page 586, and I'll invite those who would like to please rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol hatekru la'liotzer breshit shelo asanu kegoyei ha'aratzot velo samhanu k'mishpachot ha'adama shelo samchalkenu kahem v'gor aleinu k'chohamonam v'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim Lifnei Melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shehu Notei Shamayim Ve'osei Haaretz U'Moshe V'Karo B'Shamayim Imoho U'Shchinatu Zo V'Govei Meromim U'Eloheinu Ein Od Emet Malkeinu Efesu Hato Kakatu betarato vedata hayom vashevota elevavecha Ki Adonai hu Elohim vashamayim imal ve'aretz mitachat ein od V'nemar Adonai L'melech al haaretz Bayom hahu V'yeh Adonai echad U'shemo echad.
To share this reading before the Mourner's Kaddish on page 592. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, Put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved, and if you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me best by letting hands touch hands and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die. People do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. We turn to page 598 for the Mourner's Kaddish. We take a moment to reflect on and remember the names of those loved ones who we remember as those who we say Kaddish for those who have died in the past month or in this time in past years. We are in Shloshim for Robert Bidner, Bobby Cairns, Sharon Pekarsky Cairns, Beverly Klein, Nellie Nash, Catherine Levine Stensley, and David Unterman. And we mark Kaddish this week for Donald Becker, Faye Belogus, Nina Becko, Jamie Citronbaum, Frederica de Vries Vaz Diaz, Sydney Eibschutz, Isaac Elster, Terry Fraser, Phyllis May Gallen, Hyman Gorin, Marjorie Hamilton, Becky Harrison, Samuel Heller, Donald Hendren, Basil Quijano Henriquez, Nessie Herman, Isaac Jacobson, Sandy Califf, Shirley Kleinkarsh, Helen Moskowitz, Wendy Nayrod Meon, Samuel Noble, Reverend Israel Prazo, Malka Pudovic, Louis Rudin, Judith Schachter, Samuel Siegel, Mary Schaefer, Mordechai Shapira, Fanny Sheftel, Maurice Schenkier, Max Silverman, Betty Singer, Sarah Slabinski, Glenn Silkis, Molly Sudak, Rivka Steinbach, Sally Voisin, Irvin Weinstein, Edward Wallach, and Abraham Zelkovitz. There are other names you are remembering. I invite you to share them aloud or in your heart as we prepare for these words of Kaddish, again, page 598. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayei uv'yomei uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'izman kari v'imru, amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'alam u'lamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yit'aleh v'yit'alal shmei dekudsha barichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlam Rabbah min shamayim, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru, amen. Yehi zichronam livracha, may their memories always be a blessing, as together we say, amen.
Thank you, Rabbi Brown.
Welcome.
Thank you, Cantor Tausig. Happy Hanukkah.
Do you have a Hanukkah song to close with?
Yeah, can we sing a Hanukkah song, Cantor Tausig?
Absolutely. I'm wondering if there's a section we can tell people what page we're on.
Sure, in the back of the book, I think it's in the 600s.
Yeah, 668 is where they start.
Yeah.
We're on a Maud Sur or Mia Malel.
How about me and Malel?
Let's do it. So 668 at the bottom. Mi Malel Gvurot Yisrael Otan Mi Imne Ein Bechol Dor Yakum Hagibor Goel Mi Yamalel Gvurot Yisrael Otan Mi Yimne En Bechol Dor Yakum Hagibor Goel Shema Bayamim Hahem Basman Hazeh Maccabim Hoshiahu Fodeh Uviameinu Kol Am Yisrael Yitached Yakum Lehigahel Mi Yamalel Gvurot Yisrael Otan Mi Yimne En Bechol Yakum Hagibor Goel
That was lovely. Thank you.
Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. And join us tomorrow morning for services at 10 a.m. Torah study at 8:30. Tomorrow night, 5 o'clock for our Shabbat across Canada, our Hanukkah across Canada extravaganza Saturday Night Live. So join us for that. And we will see you soon.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.